that's just our whole thing. What side you on? Are you a free black who could got financially free, or not even close, halfway financially free, and like, you know what, I'm coming back to free some others? Or are you a free black that's like, yo, I like it over here, and I ain't trying to mess this up? So everybody got to choose a side. And that's where we at with it. So that won't change.
Can't change. There would be no foundation then, right?
Right.
So Jay, you know a couple of successful black celebs, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is it there? Is there money constraints as far as with you taking out a meal and just giving it back to the hood? Is there like some banker saying no, you can't do that, or is it just within themselves?
It's their money. They go to the. I've been in the club with athletes and rappers, and they spent $60,000 in one night, $30,000 in one night. It's their money on bottles of liquor that
Don't spend no money on him.
right. So it's like they do what they want. I've seen them pull up in $250,000 cars and all of that. Like that's not the issue. I'm not even saying, hey, come give the hood money. I don't even believe in that. I don't even believe in, like, I say come redevelop the hood, right? Be a social entrepreneur, come build it up, make money off you building it up. Come put business here, make money off that, right? I don't believe in, I mean, there could be a certain level of donation, yes, but I believe more in teaching someone how to fish. If Puffy made 500 million, Jay at 500 million, whoever at whatever million, and you just came and just gave everybody money, but we don't have no financial knowledge or base or don't learn how to fish, all we're gonna do is spend the money anyway, back with
Same
European and American
situation.
people, and then we're gonna be back in the situation. So I believe in teaching us how to fish, but I'm saying they're not even lending a voice and a platform to come teach us how to fish. Like
not
that's
really
what you said at Thanksgiving. You talked to your
uncle.
your uncle who made it in hedge funds and private equity and all that. Say, yo, why your sister don't know this?
Right.
Why you?
Why am I paying my mother's rent? And you got millions.
Why is she even renting?
Dang. And what he said?
Crickets. And that's the whole point. It's like, yo, why do y'all know all of that up there? Why have you figured all that out and you haven't transferred any of the knowledge? Or you haven't built no schools. You know prisons are private. You ain't built no prisons. You just watching everything go by. As long as it don't interfere your dollar and your relationships up there. Only thing you,
But that
that's
begs
what
the
they
question
value.
on the back end. Then who's controlling their dollar?
Right.
Like if you kind of like your experience with Sotheby's. Like I don't like what you're saying, so I'm gonna mess with your money now. You're gonna be like, what? So those guys at Jay-Z's and all of them, who's really controlling their dollar?
right, that's what I'm trying to say is that there has to be, but what's your threshold of like how far do you got to make it before you ever come back to get
Before
your
you
people?
ever come back. If you don't value, because
Priority.
If you don't value, right, priority. Because I think about people that I know who made it, right, that I know personally, and it's even just how they talk about people who
Never moved.
right never left the hood
Right.
or never left. It's like almost like you talking down about them because
They're a free
not,
Negro now.
Right.
Exactly.
Like-
It's just so many. It goes.
It's
It
ingrained
cuts
in
across
us.
the board, right? It's to your hair. It's to how you a dashiki. Something as simple as okay, it's a piece of it's a piece of cloth. It's a dashiki.
You ain't gotta like.
What's in my mind, right? The value of the knowledge that you have is valuable. It's not necessarily the clothes you wear or whatever. It's the knowledge you have to acquire the money that you know. What
But
I'm
that's
saying?
the whole messed up part is that these people here,
Those people look.
right, are getting funded by these people here though.
That's the measure.
Right,
That's the
to
measure.
give the message and set the standard of like, yo, we don't want you over here getting these people free.
Right.
Like, you keep getting money with us as long as you keep these people on the message that we want
Yeah.
them
Keep
to have.
towing the line.
Yeah.
Right?
But here's two, and I've seen on the other end, like where they make it and they try to pull some folks up and let's say they're dealing with that class right here on the bottom, the one that pulls them down is jealous.
Right.
And they try to come back, they try to give, but then like after they get burned, or after the family says, so what you changed now? You different now? You can't mess with us now? And then, so after they get burnt enough times, and they're like,
That is
you know
true.
what? I'm done.
That's true.
That's a wrap. So
No.
it's like, I think, just being mindful of the patience that it's going to take if you up at the top.
And
you want to deal with some of that. Some of the folks.
right, and that's what priority comes
But
in,
that-
and commitment.
And I think that also goes back to the arc.
Right.
I mean, you're talking about somebody who has no financial literacy, no economic understanding. I just came up on a 500 mil because I played for the Seahawks. And now I just gave all my people money. Now y'all broke and you asking me for more.
Right.
To hell with you. You didn't even have the understanding of how your money's supposed to make money for you.
So it's
So you
this
have to
program.
raise the consciousness. of
Right. So that's the
people.
point of the art program to do that. You know, so I think once that's in place, then that changes that mindset because now you have an understanding.
Well, yeah, and again, you do get a bit of that jealousy of the crossover because the way it's positioned, because of the country that we're in, that we were brought to as Africans, and that we are now here and established to some degree, is that we under their system. We're under their financial system. We're under the European American school system, or the European American
Courts,
media
everything.
system, court system, prison system, everything you can name. So like, we have to learn how to play over there to a degree without forgetting who we are, our priority.
You do.
That's
You
the
know,
bottom line.
Asians do it. You know
Right.
what I mean? Every culture that has some type of large institution of money, they do it, but they still value their culture.
Right. They play the European
They
American
have a
game.
culture.
Right.
They have a
And
culture.
they
Right.
value the
We're
culture
the
that they
only
have.
group that we didn't come here on those grounds. We came here as slaves, and then if I bought you as a slave, why would I now give you any type of
Why would I give you the
parity?
keys to the
Why would I
kingdom?
give you parity? It doesn't make any sense. Everybody else came here on their own fruition, if you will.
Right.
We didn't.
and
And
that's
we're not
why-
designed to do it.
And that's why in the arc, one thing we haven't labeled out, we're going to get into like who we want to teach, is like we have to set, and I have a bunch of different ideas and different emails and all that, but we have to set what our new African values are, or what our culture values are for ourselves. Like I haven't seen anywhere yet outside of maybe like the Nation of Islam or certain religious groups, like truly what our values are as Black people. And that's why I think we have to, if we don't have culture, we have to create culture. So that's going to be one of the fun things, but one of the busier things we have to do is like,
Talking about that coming down.
it's like we have to, and it's going to seem an uphill battle starting as a small group. And I realized that, like I'm looking at all different groups. I mean, so, I mean, I'm just like, you know what? No one right now, people are close, but I think that's just, me following through with my vision. Is like, we need to figure out, okay, what forefathers and foremothers are we going to honor as a organization that we're going to present to all our people to say, look, at these are our new African values. Like we're going to honor Malcolm X, we're going to honor Marcus Garvey Day, we're going to honor Huey Newton's death day. You know what I'm saying? Whoever, right? Fred Hampton's death day, whoever we want to pick. But we need to pick out, what forefathers and foremothers that we're honoring. That's part of culture, right? Like those holidays that we celebrate, the stuff that we tell our family is like, yo, that's how it has to start from
It has to
within,
start that way.
and creating
It
that.
has to start with history.
Right. And then, our core values, basically, what's our core values as a people, et cetera, et cetera. So that's just that culture part we have to add. But I know, like, even with me, as I came from the streets and then went into the corporate American side, European American side, and understand I got to shake and move, be on NBC, to be with Sotheby's, to be at this mortgage company, right? So I remember just answering the phone from my friends, who was still hustling in the hood and all of that. And I'm like, hey, this is Jay. And they're like, why are you talking white for? Why are you talking to me like that? Like, they mad because, like, this is the lashback I get. You know what I'm saying? And that causes the divide between me and them because it's like, yo, I'm over here trying to stay out of jail
Right, code
and get
switching.
my money. Because the reality is we have to come to the acceptance that you can have an independent, Black-owned, non-compromising, non-European American interested business and still be successful. It can, but it's less likely. Because they own so much of the businesses and so much of the money and they have so much of the territory, you have to be able to blend in and work well with European Americans, and that's fine, and Jewish Americans, but we just can't give up on the priority of like, yo, I'm always, whether it's a secret or whether you want to do it boldly, but that's the whole part. It's one thing if our celebs is like, all right, I ain't gonna be bold with it, but on the low, I'm funding a whole bunch of, you know what I'm saying? I'm funding a whole bunch of movements. But I don't know, I know a lot of leaders of a lot of movements, I don't know none that's being secretly funded by no athletes and no celebrities that's like, yo, I'm spending $500,000 a year funding the Justice or Else cause or the such and such cause or the such and such. It's like everybody ain't committed. It's just too comfortable over there in European American acceptance world. And I know that. I'm telling you, it's comfortable. If you just go with the flow.
It's based off of fear. They scared to lose it. I'm scared to lose it, but they don't really think in their mind like you created it. How can you lose something that you created? Just because the distribution is now being handled by this person, to your point, if we all come together, that's not even an issue anymore. But we live in fear. We don't even have the luxury of critically thinking. We always have to react because everything is on us. Whereas European Americans, It's their institutions. It's their country. They can sit back and be very proactive and be very analytical and rational and say, okay, we should move this way. We worry about rent. We worry about eating. We worry about cops. We worry about somebody who look like us. We worrying about everything.
Right.
So once they get to that point, they scared to lose anything.
Right. It's like, man, it's so comfortable over here. Like, I don't never want to go back.
Deer in
And-
headlights. Like,
The best way to never go back, the sad part, is the best way for you to never go back.
to go back.
Yep.
Fix it.
That's the best way. The best way to never go back is like, look, if you like it up here, if you like it being a free Negro, if you like being a free Negro, don't you ever try to go back and save them other Negroes. That's the bottom line.
I was reading this book on Black Wall Street in Oklahoma, and they were saying 80% of the hangings after slavery during Jim Crow, 80% of the hangings that were done were black business owners. Because the white folks was like, you ain't making more money than me. And they would cut off their stuff, but most of the men that were hung were black business owners. I never knew that. So they don't want you to have no economic base.
So that's what we're dealing with, and that's just like we said, like, you know, I do like what I said in regards to, we basically just can, and I think that's where the financial freedom part comes in. Like, there has to be a social component, and what we're doing on the economic side is creating that financial, what is it, underground railroad, that financial freedom underground railroad. It's like, that will give our people a little more leverage to be able to, we understand money well, because in order for us to bring our money in together, we got to understand how money works, period.
Right.
So we can't practice group economics, but you don't even understand that you got to have an emergency fund before you go invest. And that inflation goes up 3% a year, and the cost of living goes up 3% a year.
Taxes about to go up.
all,
Heavy.
all that. So
Yeah, see, but to your point, if your income comes from assets, you don't care what taxes do. Because you're not getting taxed at 30, 40%. You're getting taxed at 5 or 7%. That's what Mitt Romney was like. I don't get taxed. Because
Right.
all his income comes from assets. To your point, change your DNA wealth, or your wealth DNA.
and when
change
you
how
understand
think.
money, you understand how to not avoid taxes, but you understand how to mitigate taxes.
Right. You pay what you owe. And which is no excuse, because it's the information age. There's
Yeah.
no excuse for you to be ignorant about anything that's of interest to you. If you ain't got no interest in crabbing, I don't expect you to be able to
But
talk
the
about
only-
it.
But we need more leaders. So that's the reason why I like Jay. Because, okay, I was interested. I'm sorry.
No,
No, yeah. My bad.
Yeah.
Right,
Because
right.
I was interested in real estate, but there was no one out there to really explain it to me.
that's what I'm
You know, and we could say, yeah, you know, this and that, but we even see it in the colleges and universities. A lot of times our students want to major in something, but really end up not being able to go into that field because they're not seeing other people like them really, you know, really teaching it in a way that they could understand. Jay was great. I give it to you. You was great and just explain it to a regular average Joe. He could be out in the streets. You know, and you could explain it like, look, this is how you do it. This is how it's similar to flipping birds. Instead of flipping these houses. Like it's that correlation. You gotta know how to
Show it.
yeah, to get our people, and you gotta be real genuine. Our people, one thing I can say about black people, they could tell when somebody genuine or not. And we second guess our people so much. I second guess Jay. I was like, who's this guy? And Sid and Tiff mentioned it the other day. You know, they did their homework and everything like that. When it's a white person, you don't do all that.
No, it's immediate trust. Oh,
You know, it's
okay.
it's that trust aspect. So
That's crazy.
So,
we
yeah.
trust the people that actually did the most harm to us. So it's us.
They're brilliant. They're brilliant people.
at it. They're
But
brilliant.
they're just savage with their brilliancy. That's all.
But if that's the face you always get your information from, why
Yeah.
would you
Why would
trust
you
it?
question
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Every teacher you've known practically
Exactly.
is right. But no, that's the point that King was making is like, it's the relatableness, right? So you can go online, you can Google and read a whole bunch of stuff, but if you don't have a very high comprehension level, right,
Get
that-
disqualified.
you're gonna get
Yeah.
disqualified. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you grew up in a lot of our school systems in these inner cities where you're not even reading at a tip top level for real, you going on the internet to go look up something on tax law or how to start a hedge fund or how to get private money or how to file Chapter 7 bankruptcy. You can read it, but it's gonna fly over your head.
Right.
Until somebody can actually break that joint down, like, and that's what we want to do with the ARC. It's just like break everything down to basics. I want to get everybody to basics of like, yo, this is what our real economic freedom looks like.